Welcome, viewers. It's me again, Lawrence. Welcome to the podcast, Finding Relationship in Church. And today I have with me Pastor Phil. See the handsome pastor. He's married though. So if you know you are seeing visions, I'll clean your visions. We'll clean it. So we're having Pastor Phil here today, and he's married to a wonderful wife, and he has been married for over 4 years. So we would like him to just introduce himself. Pastor Phil, please introduce yourself to the audience. 3 years. 3 years.
Over 3 years.
Over 3 years. Still not here, over 3 years. The journey, 3 years, maybe 3 months, So Pastor Phil, welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome to.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be part of this movement, and it's good to be on set with my very good brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. You guys, in case tomorrow night turn billionaire, no say I been brother. Hey, you know what I'm talking about now. You know what I mean. So Pastor Phil, over the week, there has been controversial comments coming in, and even some people sending me messages, about the ongoing topic, finding love in church.
Okay.
What's your take first on finding love in church? What do you think about it?
First, I think this is a very, very controversial topic.
Yeah.
And this is a kind of topic that ought to be deliberated on and talked about very loud.
Yeah.
So that those out there can be more educated in the aspect of relationship, because I have had a lot of dealings with church folks, and it surprises you, it amazes you the extent to which they are educated in the aspect of relationship. A lot of them are really not educated in the field of relationship, and this makes a lot of relationships in church very, very stale. And so we need to loud this so that a lot of people out there can listen to some of these questions that are being discussed and be able to find real value from what we are releasing.
Wow. You made a very good point there. And I can tell you from my experience with conversing with church folks, I found out that most of us, we don't really know what true relationship is. Yeah. And that is why you find many Christian homes breaking. And it's because they are entering into relationship and into marriages without having a very strong foundational knowledge on what they are going into. Yes. So, I spoke to a few persons, some ladies, and I was asking them some questions. How do you even hold a conversation in a relationship? Most of them are saying, he's a Christian brother now. He should be able to know God. He should be able to pray. He should be able to do this. And everything they were saying was outside what is supposed to be known. Meaning, what I'm trying to say is that when you get married, you will not be speaking in tongues every 2 hours. Your husband will not be praying for the whole 24 hours.
Yes.
What is the very core foundation of your communication? How can you really communicate with your husband? How do you express your feelings? How do you go about respecting this person? And even when it comes to expressing your love in a relationship, how do you do it?
Okay, I think the aspect of spirituality is overemphasized in the relationship space when it comes to the church. The aspect of spirituality, we take every single thing spiritual. Meanwhile, spirituality is already our DNA.
Yeah.
We don't have to have a spooky look to become
Yes,
spiritual.
you're right.
We don't
You're
have
right.
to do some funny things and spiritual jingoism
Yes.
to become spiritual, because
Yeah.
we were wired to be spiritual beings.
Yes, you're right.
So
you're right.
listening to love songs, we need to tell some church brothers, listen to a love song, sing a love song to your wife.
Just imagine.
Yes.
Just
We need
imagine
to do
going
these
on
things.
a date with a brother and he's playing Theophilus song for you. So you see, this thing, I'm beginning to find it difficult, having a proper conversation with some brothers. You just talk and they are telling you that the sisters in this church, they don't know how to pray. They don't think that they are marriable. They are not wife materials because they cannot pray 7 hours. So I asked the question: when you are in marriage, will you eat? How many times in a day will you eat? Say, will you have kids? They say yes. Okay, how do you want to have kids? So I asked all these questions, and when we summed up everything, and I said, okay, will your wife be praying 7 hours while taking care of the kids and while cooking for you? Will she be doing all this? And they were dumbfounded. They couldn't answer me. They couldn't even give me a proper question. I believe it's because of the kind of build-up of information we've received.
Yes.
The content of the informations we've received about relationship
Over the years. Yes.
Many men don't even know things like patience, having patience, being patient with your spouse. They don't even know, okay, I need to forbear, I need to forgive. They don't know how to walk in kindness. They don't know how to give gifts.
Yes.
They just, I don't know.
A lot of men don't know their wife's primary love language.
Wow.
Yes. They don't know their wife's primary love language. And that is something very, very important for you to know. The aspect of understanding a woman. A woman is a lot. Women are emotional beings. And there is a way you should relate with a woman.
Yeah.
There is a way a woman should relate to her husband. So some of these things are things that we need to look at. Okay, like for instance, you don't just I'm trying to get a very good scenario for like a wife now. Let me see. Okay, yes. You don't just tell your wife that you love her and then you just walk out.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
There is an emotion that she's expecting to come out of that,
it's a kind of
that
response.
statement. Yes, I love you. There's an emotion that she's expecting. In fact, she sees that emotions and reads that emotion even more than the words.
Yes. Wow, Pastor Phil, we are getting somewhere.
Yes.
But I want us to digress a bit.
Okay.
There's some there were some comments that some people send. Messages that some people sent directly to me. Trying to get some clarity about submitting your relationship to a spiritual authority.
Okay.
Before going into marriage. What are your thoughts on it?
Okay. This is a very controversial question, I must say.
Yeah.
Because a lot of variables come in between and interplays in how you should actually submit. But I must make this very, very clear.
Yeah.
That it is the right thing to submit your relationship
Yes.
to a spiritual authority.
I fully agree with you.
Yes.
I fully agree with you. As someone who is also in a relationship,
Yes.
I must say that as a man, you might have made some mistakes while in a relationship. You understand? Or before entering into a relationship.
Yes.
But I want to ask this question. Should you submit your relationship to a pastor that is single? that is not married.
Wow. Wow.
Because, we've had scenarios where young folks come tell me that I submitted my relationship to a pastor, and that pastor is single, and without knowing, that pastor has an eye for that same lady in the church. And from there, it began to board. Resentment. So what do you think? Because I also have my own story, and let me just share it right now.
Okay.
There was a time in my life where I had this friend, and people felt like, this lady, it's like they are going out, but we were not going out. Okay. So I began to have issues with my spiritual leader then. I was having issues with him. I never knew that this person the reason why this guy was having issues with me was because he was liking the lady that was my friend.
Wow.
And he thought that we were going out together. So what will you do in that case? Eventually, because we were not really going out, they are now married, happily married. Wow. They are blessed with kids, and I love the family. Wow. You get, but when young men find themselves in such kind of situations where when they submit their relationships to their spiritual leader,
yes,
and their spiritual leader is also having interest in that same lady that they are going out with, what should they do? Or what do you think should be done in such kind of scenario?
Wow. Okay. This is quite tricky.
Of course it is. Of course.
Okay. From my perspective, I think that okay, please let me get the question very clearly. Yeah. Is it that the pastor now is now interested in the
same lady?
Wow.
And you, as his follower, you are going to him now to express your interest in that same lady that is having interest in.
Okay.
And now, after expressing your interest, trying to submit this process under your spiritual leader, you start getting resentment.
Wow.
Yes.
Honestly, this is a dicey situation, and I must say that first, as the person, the Holy Spirit is there to lead you, actually.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit is there to lead you. But then there are proven people. There are proven people in the aspect of relationship that are relationship counselors that you can also talk to.
Okay.
After talking, of course, the first step, if I were to be in that situation,
yes,
I would talk to God about it.
Yeah.
First. Secondly, the lady now has her position, has to take a stand on who she wants. Then thirdly, I would seek guidance on a marriage counselor.
Okay.
That I can speak to.
I love your responses, but let me add a little twist to it. Yes, I have to add a little twist. What if, take it that in a circumstance where you are not even allowed to reach out to a lady first, you have to first see your pastor. When such kind of guidelines, because there are some certain communities that are like that. That you must see your pastor first. You won't have to meet the lady first. So is your pastor now that will now do the joining? I will put it in pidgin, arrangee, that will now arrange the whole thing. So in such kind of setting, what should be done?
Wow. Okay.
I know
this is something.
So, viewers, I hope you guys are listening to what we are actually discussing. You can be putting down your comments in the comment section. If you are in such kind of position, what will you do when the person you want to go, you are interested in going into a relationship with, your pastor or your spiritual authority is also interested in that person? So, what will you do? So, over to you, Pastor Phil.
Okay. From my perspective, I think I have a lot of praying to do. Because at this point, I already know there's a lot to deal with. Yes, there's a lot to deal with. Because if my pastor is already interested in the lady, and the protocol is that I must go through him, then there's a lot of trouble.
Of course there is.
But my way out now, okay, I may want to speak to my parents, because those are another authority figure that will have a strong say in this matter. I may want to speak to my parents regarding the issue. Yes. Even though I know the protocol is to go through my pastor, I will have to maybe try to speak to my parents or a mentor. Maybe a mentor that has a connection with my pastor. That may help. So I may want to speak to them and trusting God. Trusting God.
Okay, let me come in this way. Don't you think going behind, trying to look for other sources that can channel your intentions to your pastor, don't you think they'll consider it as rebelling? Rebelling to a set structure of how things are supposed to be done in a church.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I think it is not rebelling.
You think?
I think what I will do is I'll pray about it.
Okay.
I will speak to my pastor. Okay, like from what you just said now, it's like a privy information that he is interested in the lady. But I'll go ahead with the protocol and talk to my pastor, and then I'll pray about it.
And then you start getting resentment response.
And then I will speak to a mentor.
Wow. But what you just said is very accurate. And I believe there are still other ways. I believe when you speak to God about the situation, the Holy Spirit will actually give you wisdom on how to navigate this kind of rough waters. You understand? Because we really have to be guided in these times.
Yes.
While we deal with spiritual authorities, because they are very valid.
Yes.
They are very valid. Okay. Our viewers dropped some questions.
Okay.
So we will still be going on with the questions. So we didn't actually get to deal with the part where it says, should you submit your relationship plans to a pastor that is single?
Wow. Okay. I think in this case, your pastor is supposed to be aware, but it is wise that you submit it to a counselor that is married.
So now they hear.
While making sure that your pastor is aware.
But you know that in the current church community, it's hard for you to see marriage counselors who truly know what they are doing, or people who know God and they understand this thing called relationship, and they can actually counsel you through the right path. Not people who are being driven by their traditional beliefs and makeup, where they say, okay, our people, they do them like this, our people, they do them like this. And even when you now meet some educated counselors, they tend to influence you towards their own belief structure. So what do you do in such kind of situation?
Okay. I must say this. I really liked the last statement you made. And that is what is influencing this statement now. every relationship is peculiar to you. Your relationship with your fiancé and my relationship with my wife, they are different. There are a lot of things that make them different. Of course, one of them is our cultural, our background, our cultures, and then our belief system. Yes. So these are just a few ones I've even mentioned, but then there are a lot that makes us different. And so the way we would relate to the opposite sex will also be different.
Yes.
So the way to go about each relationship, honestly, I must tell you that counselors must really depend on the Holy Spirit to be able to counsel people rightly.
How do we even find the kind of counselors that depend on the Holy Spirit? See, when we start discussing about these things, it will now boil down to a very small group of people. Because I tell you, counselors out there, some of them, they can counsel you, they can counsel your marriage, but they also are passing through hell in their own marriages and they are not speaking out. So how do we even know counselors who truly follow God to the latter? How do we know counselors that are being led by the Spirit, that when they open up their mouth to speak, you actually hear the voice of the Holy Spirit bringing counsel to you and bringing healing to your marriage, or bringing wisdom on how you should go about your relationship or marriage? So these are some very tricky questions, and it will also lead me to invite some fathers that have spent over 15 to 20 years in marriage to come speak to us, because one of the ways I believe the devil will hit my generation is through failed marriages. Because this generation, we are finished. If the Holy Spirit does not help us, we are finished. You don't even know what your child is going to grow up to turn into. We don't currently, because some things has not broken into the African space properly. This gender fluidity, where a child, because of the kind of educational construct around the child will grow up to believe that there are 10,000 genders and the rest. How do we grow as parents while knowing the Holy Spirit and understanding core family values, imputing to our children, love our wives, and together imputing to our children godly standards, godly training that will make these guys stand out in a corrupt world that we are? So this has been some of the burdens in my heart, because I told myself that my marriage relationship will never wreck. It will never wreck. Because I understand very well that if the devil does not haunt you or does not get you while you are single, when you are married, that's one of the biggest opportunity he can use to cut short that which the Lord wants to do with you. So getting married to the wrong person, if you don't get married to the wrong person, the devil can come in, maybe give you a job or put you in a kind of situation or conditioning where you will not have time to pass down those trainings, those buildings, those structure, Christian structures. You will not be able to, those disciplines, those virtues, you will not be able to pass it to your children, because maybe the conditions around your life does not warrant you to have time for your kids. So these are some of the things that we want fathers to treat in church. We want fathers to start helping the church to, find it again. Because I can tell you that me like this, I'm not coming from a home that knew peace. So me finding peace now was because of me going through several forms of discipleship over the years under men who, some of them, their marriages have stood. And I learned from them. Okay. And the perception or the perspectives that I have towards marriage right now, I got it from there. I got these values, these virtues, I got it from there. So we really need to start remolding men. Remolding men. Men who can, transfer the life they've received, the life of Jesus Christ that they've received, the life of the trainings, the disciplines the dealings that the Holy Spirit has taken them through, and transfer these treasures to their kids, so that their kids will grow up to become better men. Yes. They will not have the same problems that we have. They will not face the same stumbling blocks that we faced. Some of us struggled with depression over the years because of the kind of backgrounds we came from, because of lack in the family and the disunity in family. So we need to be the last bus stop, the last checkpoint, for these things not to cross over to the next generation. And even when you now look at, there's just a lot to discuss about when it even comes to these relationship thing.
Absolutely.
Some expectations that some ladies have in a relationship cannot even accommodate a man who truly knows God. And those ladies are in church. Wow. So the thing is, I think there needs to be a format and reset. Yes, there needs to be a format and reset, and unlearning and relearning process.
Yes.
You get. Yes. So some of these guys, even one asked a question. He said something. He said, why should we submit our relationship to a spiritual authority? And I responded by saying that is one of the primary things to do. I said the reason why you submit your relationship to a spiritual authority. Let me even start with something that is quite mundane. So what if another brother too is interested in the lady? If you submit it to a spiritual authority, he can provide oversight, and he can even release some information that you don't know. Absolutely. To you.
True.
If the person you are submitting to is actually genuine and is actually sincere, they will release some information to you that will either make you back out or strengthen your position.
Yes.
You know, a lot of things happen even when our brother Theo wanted to get married. We were seeing ladies fainting up and down. They were fainting up and down. You see, but I believe when some ladies went and met their pastor and said, I saw a vision, I saw me and Theophilus. I was wearing a gown, he was wearing a suit.
Wow.
I believe some of those pastors would have told them that this guy you're talking about is already in a relationship that is being confirmed by God.
Yes.
And will be getting married soon. And you know how dogged some ladies can be now. They think that God will go and break the relationship. But to their greatest surprise, no worry, he will soon turn a father.
Yes, I remember that's one of the topics you spoke with me about.
Yes.
That should I propose when I know the other lady is.
Yes, you are right. You're right. And there's this thing again, when a lady will tell you that I saw the guy in the vision and he's in a relationship, and I'm praying that God will break the relationship. See, let me advise you. Just don't put your heart. If the relationship will break, it will break. But I strongly believe, let me hold my beliefs. Let me just ask Pastor Phil to say something.
Oh my. I honestly, I'm speaking honestly, I don't see how you should pray that God should break somebody's relationship.
For me, I think it's obsession. You are obsessed to the point where you by any measure, you want to just get that person. By any measure. And obsession is one thing that needs to also be handled in our
Yes.
church space.
Yes.
It's one thing for you to love a person. It's another thing for you to be obsessed with that person. I believe obsessed. You should only be obsessed with the Holy Spirit. Be obsessed with the Lord. Don't be obsessed with a man to the point where you can do anything. You can even go as far as doing blood covenant. You know, there are a lot of things. See, people
That's
out
crazy.
there have
That's crazy.
they've had their own fair share of experiences. And I would really like you to share your experience in the comment section, because this is a very deep topic and we will be exploring it.
Yes.
We will have to touch every nook and cranny of this topic, finding love in church. Even when you are married, you know, when you see in churches these days, our leaders don't really talk about sex. And young men and young ladies go to learn about sex from outside, from the
yes,
world.
from the world.
You know, so you now start hearing things like oral sex, this and that. And you'll be like, my God, what sort of thing is this? And the thing is that the church is accepting both what is right and what is wrong, because nobody has stood up to say, this thing is wrong, this thing is right. You know, I once read a book by Dr. Howard Mills about marriage. I think it's about sex. But I have the book, I have the soft copy. And he was saying so much about how to have sex with your husband or with your spouse or with your partner as a newlywed. And I read the book and I was wowed. I was not saying that, why is it that we don't have teachers who comes to teach these things to intending couples so that they can be able to navigate their way around marriage when they finally get married? Because I've seen ladies who get married and even after 2 months, they've not consummated the marriage. So you now begin to ask yourself, what have you been learning over the years? Or even though you have this information, where did you get the information from? You know, so there's just a lot of information out there.
Yes.
Please, church leaders and our spiritual fathers, please begin to teach us these things. We need to know. It's not just teaching a lady how to telling a lady you need to wake up, because I went for a youth summit one time. I think it was 4 years back. And it was a woman, she was telling the ladies, wake up in the morning, clean your apartment. That is how you'll be hardworking. I'm saying, then in my mind I said, yes, this is good.
Yes.
This is very good.
Yes.
Because I know some ladies did not grow up in a home where they are being taught these things, maybe because their parents didn't have time. But this is not what will sustain a woman's marriage.
Absolutely.
It's not what will sustain a human's marriage. There are more pressing issues.
More, yes.
Because is a norm for a lady to be taught how to care for the home, how to keep a home. It's a norm. How to cook is a norm.
Yes.
I know that not all, but is a norm.
Yes.
So when they come to this space, when they come to their spiritual community, what is supposed to be taught to them? What are the vital things that are supposed to be taught to them so that they will know, okay, this thing my mom did not teach me, but it's being taught here. They didn't teach me that I really need to submit to my husband. I was not taught the part of submission. I only learned submission by submitting forcefully to my father because he is the head of the house.
Yes.
But how do I learn submission in love and honor to my husband? You know? So
and what does it even mean to submit to my husband?
What does it mean?
What exactly does it mean?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So these are very key issues. So viewers, want to thank you. This is just a brush-up episode, and we'll be coming again. We'll be popping up in your faces in the next episode to discuss very intricate matters as regards to finding love in church. Thank you for staying glued to your screens while we had this discourse. The Lord will bless you, and I trust that the Holy Spirit will lead you into righteous paths, that you will discover yourself and also find yourself in relationships that are true and are ordained by God.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my prayer for you.
Amen.
Yeah. So you are going to be seeing us again in the next episode, discussing other issues. And if there's anything you want us to discuss about, please make it known in the comment section. Yeah, Pastor Phil, you're welcome.
Thank you
God
so
bless
much.
you, sir.
I'm so honored to be on this wonderful movement.
Thank you so much,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Thank you.
So, as for my viewers, Pastor Phil is taking. Thank you. Pastor Phil is taking. Okay, we'll call it a wrap. Bye.
Bye.